Now I'll do Orc, because I think Orc is probably the easiest to explain quickly, and not quickly, but there's a lot of repeats. This one I got a lot of good help with, so I'm quite confident the numbers are good and that it is a well-built deck. And yeah, we can talk about that. So starting from the realm, so the realm bestows, after it's flipped, it bestows +2 attack to all warriors that are currently on the side of the field. Orc warriors currently on your side of the field. So very key. If you don't have Orc warriors on your side of the field, nothing happens. The synergy that comes with the deck, when the Veil's pierced, you can bestow +1 attack to all Orc warriors currently on your side of the field for each Orc warrior card in your discard pile. So if you have 10 warriors, you get +10. So it's a game finishing card. The synergy that comes with Ravage Lands, I don't play it right now. I feel like it's more control oriented, and I think with the Duxvox archetype there is something already there that's maybe untapped. But target 2 fortified cards on your on the field, destroy the targeted cards. Then manifest 5 armored warboars with Rampage, so they can. I've heard people use Trample. There's piercing damage is what they call it, so it's the difference. So you get 5 armored warboards, you pop 2 fortifieds. All the warboards have +1 attack, but there's lots of ways to get around having low attack, as you've seen with some of this stuff. So the Warlord, again, once the realm's pierced, you have the Bloodlust. It has a 4-turn cooldown. Target 1 Orc Bane or Outer Rim Orc Warrior on your side of the field. The targeted Orc Warrior can attack your opponent's Warlord directly. So there's lots of ways to beef up one warrior, finish your opponent. Very easy. Viseria, the Vicious Vixen. The start of game after the mulligans, you can conscript 1 Orc Warrior with attack of 2 or less from your hand to your side of the field. There's lots of Orc Warriors that you might say, oh well, there's Plunder, there's Shockwave, there's Retrieve. Early on, unless you have like Plunder or you have a 2 attack warrior that's just like vanilla, that's strong, that's out there. I don't love her effect, but it's her other consume effect, which is really powerful. If an Orc warrior destroys at least 1 warrior by battle this turn, which she can deal 2 damage to the board, she can deal 3 damage to your opponent's warlord. So it's just chip, 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 punch, dead. So it's very quick, very easy. So we'll go through the Orc deck here. So when this card's first activated, you can search your deck for up to 3 Orc Warriors. Add the search cards to your hand and draw 1 card. This is inactive, stays on the field. So once per turn, you can play Bloodborne 3, target 1 Orc Warrior with attack of 2 or less in your discard pile. Revive the targeted warrior to your side of the field. So this one's really cool because you're dumping warriors, and then you can immediately pay 3 and bring 1. It lets you swarm, it lets you get specifically some of the control based one attack warriors that you have in the deck, some that come with the battle deck, some that come actually I'm just going to pull all the warriors out. This is probably the easiest way to do it. We can go through the warriors because that's a great deal of the deck as well. So many warriors. See, as you've seen, I'm very much a control player, so this is like, what? Like, look at all this. I think this is a pretty unified, heavy version of it too. So speaking of warriors, you can dump. There is Retaliate, which is any damage this warrior takes is inflicted to your opponent. When you're pumping them up with other effects, as you've seen, that's a very powerful ability because you could just have a +10 on the field guarding you, and your opponent can't attack or do anything because they'll lose the game. Plunder, opponent cuts the deck, great for hand advantage, great for Viseria's first ability, great for just making sure that like you're keeping your hand full, right? Retrieve, so not necessarily great with Viseria, but overall in this deck there's lots of cards that you want to get back, so this retrieve ability is absolutely fantastic. Gulvik, the Orc Bane Body Carver. This one is the uncommon for the Orc deck. It is arguably as powerful as Candlehaus. Shockwave and Perish. So Shockwave, destroy a warrior with 2 or less attack. Original 2 or less attack. And then Perish is target 1 warrior on the field, destroy the targeted warrior, period. So it's a pop 2. I've gotten a +5 Orc Vein. Actually, I think I have 2 of her in this deck. No, I don't. So yeah, she's the one that comes in the battle deck. +5. We have Gartog, the Hero Hunter, Shockwave, and Rampage. So the Rampage is the trample, piercing battle damage. So you're running over your opponent, inflicting that damage. And then Shockwave. So when this warrior enters play, you can target 1 warrior on the field with original attack of 2 or less, destroy the targeted warrior. So this is just great ways to clear the board. You could pop a weak warrior, beef him up, run 5 for 5, and deal 5 to your opponent. Just great ways of dealing with that. Another uncommon that came in Ravaged Lands, I love how Legions did such a good job with their uncommon ratios and the distribution. I've opened like 3 boxes. You almost get 3 copies of all the uncommons and things, and just being able to have these 5 attack warriors without having to hunt them down is just so useful for the orcs. Moteg, the axe thrower, so retaliate again. Shockwave and Rampage, +5 attack. Gulvik, the Orc Bane Body Carver again. So this one I run as maybe a one-off. And, you could arguably, I don't need to run this, but this is just more vanilla firepower. I trade this out in a minute for another of the, where is she, of this one, the 5 attack Maiden. But it's just what you got, right? We're having fun, right? So, Lambug, Gatherer of the Orc Bane. Gartog, the Orc Bane Torture Tank. And 2 more Mogak. So everything's really out of 3. You'll find everything's out of 3. There's a few things that are not. So yeah, we went over that, and that's super powerful. You'll find that dumping for orcs is super useful. So this one's Bloodborne 4. Search your deck for 3 Orc Bane cards, not named Sildos, called the Orc Bane. Add them to your hand, then discard 2 cards. You can only activate this card once per turn. So you can search Orc Bane March of Death. You can activate Orc Bane Feeding Frenzy, Pride of the Orc Bane. Now this is one that often people have a combo with. I just wanted to search for it to show you. I've seen people grab 3 cards, 2 of them being Pride of the Orc Bane, because if this card is discarded by a card effect, draw 1 card. And that activates on either a player's turn. So it's just a great way to maintain hand advantage. You're getting 3 cards for 4. It doesn't matter. You're not having to discard anything because these are going to end up in your they're going to end up in your discard, but you're going to get to draw for it anyway, and you're wanting to get more orc stuff in the discard, so that's powerful. Orc Bane March of Death is really powerful. I'll put those over here. So this one actually works really well with Lambug. So the way that sequences work, so I activate my unified Orc Bane March of Death. It allows me to search my deck for an Orc Warrior conscripted to my side of the field. And then this card says destroy the conscripted warrior at the end of the turn. So for this to resolve, it has to hit the discard. The second sequence activates, and then which is the retrieve ability. So I grab this card again, and I search for another Lambug. So I'm probably going to pay 12 Bloodborne to get 3 Lambugs. But if I'm able to then use my synergy and give them all +15 for each Orc Warrior that's in my discard, I'm going to be able to clear the field very easily. So it's very powerful. I just want to show you guys that little combo because just little things with the orcs. Orc Bane Feeding Grounds. As a cost to play this card, target 3 Orc Bane cards in your discard pile. Eradicate the targeted cards. So kind of counterproductive to the having them, but as you'll see, if you have the Pride of the Orc Bane, you have a bunch of stuff you're maybe not going to use again. This is not a huge cost to play. Target up to 3 Orc Warriors in your discard pile. Revive the targeted warriors to your side of the field. Bestow 1 attack to all Orc Warriors revived by this effect. Destroy all Orc Warriors on your side of the field at the end of the turn this is activated. So it will blow up your field, but it's a great way to do a lot of damage to your opponent. So Orcs are notorious for... They are very weak to negates, and they can output a lot of damage. They're very good at recovering, and I think that's why playing into the hand advantage is more important for them than just letting, negate it, right? I'll draw something else, And some of the Orc builds I've seen, they call it pure gas, right? So every card you draw is just more ways of doing more damage to your opponent. That's why if I draw this mid-game and you have a good field, I can try, if you're using angels, it's a bit different, right? 3 negates, right? But I can coax you with that, use this, and then do some damage to your board. Blood Calls Blood. It is Bloodborne 20. It's a costly card. Search your deck for 4 Orc Warriors. Conscript the search warriors to your side of the field and draw 1 card. The pure gas version does destroy demons and titans. So this card is very powerful. I wouldn't want to run it at more than a 2. Personally. Oh, there's another Lambug. Another Sildud's Call. Sildud's residual magic. So you'll see Sildud is referenced quite a bit here. She is a blood mage, I believe. So this card cannot be destroyed by fortified cards, which is super cool. Once per turn, you can target 1 Orc Bane unified card in your discard pile. The targeted card cannot be an act unified card, and eradicate it. If you do, activate the eradicated card's effect. So you could eradicate some of these unifieds that are Orc Bane related. You'd be able to eradicate this. You'd be able to eradicate Orc Bane Feeding Frenzy. You'd be able to eradicate Orc Bane March of Death. So it's a very cool ability. I've gone over these. Rally Sharn's Faithful. Not an Orc Bane card, but it's still extremely powerful. And I run this. I might swap this out for a Blood Axe, only in the event that I actually ever pull one. You can only play this card if your Orc Warrior is Sharn the Orc Bane Blood Maiden. Each time an Orc Warrior on your side of the field destroys a warrior your opponent controls, reduce the damage counter max of an Orc Warrior by the destroy warrior's attack. So you can literally fill your board, remove their board with something like Orc Bane Feeding Frenzy, and you can heal yourself for a lot of damage very easily. So it's a very powerful card. It's an active. Zelter Torque's Orc Bane Feeding Frenzy. So when this card is activated, discard an Orc Warrior from your hand and draw a card. So that has to be done. Once per turn, you can target 1 Orc Bane card in your discard pile, eradicate it, draw 1 card. If this card is destroyed and sent to the discard pile, draw 1 card. So it just plays into that hand advantage. Keeping that hand advantage is super important. Orc Bane March of Death, again. Another Pride of the Orc Bane. Zelter's Orc Bane Feeding Frenzy. New card, and a fortified at that. So you'll find a lot of these aren't fortifieds. Pride of the Orc Bane is. And these two actually. We'll do those here in a minute. Bestow +2 attack to all Orc Warriors you currently control until the end of the turn. Deal X damage to all warriors your opponent controls, where X is the highest attack among all Orc Warriors you control. So, and if this card is in your discard pile at the end of your opponent's turn, you can target 1 card in the field and eradicate this card, destroy the target card. So it kind of prevents it from happening more than once, but this is a great way to remove your opponent's stuff for sure. Enemies of the Orc Bane. So as long as this card remains face up on the field, bestow +2 attack to all Orc Bane and Outer Rim Orc Warriors on your side of the field. So again, this works very well for going in for the kill, powering up all your warriors, giving your board a +5. As your opponent has a Hero Warlord, bestow +4 attack to all Orc Bane and Outer Rim Warriors instead. So it is very powerful. It is an axe, so it doesn't work with Silduds. but it is still powerful. Cry for Bloodlust. It's a unified Bloodborne 6. Bestow +3 attack to all Orc warriors you control until the end of the turn. So it is a costly card. It's got a limited effect, but when you've got a board full of 5 and you're giving them all +3 and you can do 15 damage extra to your opponent this turn, super useful. Rally Shard Faithful, I believe I only run that at a 1. Or sorry, at a 2. I'd run it at a 1 if I had the Blood Axe. Sildud's Residual Magic is a 2. Reservoirs of Revival Ooze is a 3 because it's just nice to keep dumping and reviving, and again, if this card is removed, you can retrieve it, so it's just a very nice card to have access to. Pride of the Orc Bane, again, a fortified. This protects your, the first half of the effect is also important. You can activate this when one of your Orc Bane Orc Warriors would be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn. Instead, they are not destroyed. So this turn, they were not destroyed. So it's just a card keeping your board from, you go against Titans, they try and break your board, you've got away from them not being destroyed. Orc Bane Feeding Frenzy, so again, a great card for Sildud's Residual Magic. So here is the one-off, and I don't think I've shown any of them in my other deck techs so far. Some decks benefit more from having the Veil Pierce card than others. Every battle deck has one. Deflect is a thing, there are negates in the game, so having this card is great, but having it be negated is just very damaging to the game. So when you attempt to activate this card, you pay 10. It pierces the Veil. If you have pierced the Veil already, you don't have to pay the Bloodborne cost. But if your Veil is already pierced, bestow +2. So you could literally pierce your Veil, play this, and then pierce your Veil again and give your board +4, which is kind of nice. Cry for Bloodlust. Sildud's Residual Call of the Orc Bane. So here's one I run a 1 of, and then here's the 2 of for this one. So we'll cover these. So for the Love of the Hunt. So this is a unified. It costs 8. Target one Orc Warrior on your side of the field. Bestow 2 attacks to the target warrior, and it gives it Rampage. So depending on who you're going against, depending on what you're doing, you're going against angels. Having that piercing damage, being able to run over your opponent is just so cool, so useful. Who sleeved these? My God. Orc Bane Potion of Exhuming. So this is the best rare in my opinion. Like there's warriors and stuff for this, but everything else, like the other rares that I've showed you, aren't required. This is required. Actually, Sildud's is as well. I'd say Sildud's is the other one. So, and I'm running 4 rares, and everything else is common and uncommon. So, this face-up card cannot be destroyed, right? So, and this card lets you search for Orc Bane Potion of Exhuming. So, Bloodborne 8, target one Orc Bane Unified or Fortified card and one Orc Bane Warrior in your discard pile. Add the targeted Unified or Fortified to your hand, and if you do, revive the targeted warrior. So it's a revive. It gets you more Unifieds back. You can target a Land Bug too and get more Unifieds and Fortifieds back, and it can then be targeted and eradicated so that you can do it again without having to pay the Bloodborne cost. Because to activate the effect, it's saying activate the effect with Sildud's Residual Magic. It's not forcing you to pay the cost. So, yeah, that is my basic Orc deck.